Hi and welcome. My name is Tolan and I'm the co-founder of Productivity Me. In this video, we're going to go ahead and look at the idea of using and inserting shapes within Microsoft Excel. So with that, let's get started. All right, if you want to follow along, go ahead and open up exercise file 05.17. As is often the case, if not always the case, you can find a link to download this exercise file in the description of our video. Okay, so you may recognize this made-up company, that of Tech Company, and in this case, we are using some of the data that we've worked with before, but essentially we have 4 quarters and 4 different regions, and then what we've done in this worksheet is we've basically just totaled the individual quarters for each region and each quarter. That's not really important. What's important is the topic of this video, and the topic of this video is how to insert a shape into Microsoft Excel. If you want to insert a shape into Microsoft Excel, the way that you would do that would be to go to Insert, and then once on the Insert tab, you go to Illustrations, and then you're going to go to Shapes. Makes a lot of sense, perhaps. And then you're going to be given a series of choices. So you're going to have recently used shapes, you're going to have lines, rectangles, basic shapes, block arrows, equations, and flowcharts. Probably scroll down, you might even have more choices, like stars and banners. But, excuse me, we're going to say that we want an arrow. So we click this arrow. How do we insert an arrow? Well, we click with our left mouse and then drag, and if we drag down, the arrow will become a little bit wider, or I guess taller. If we pull to the right, it will become longer. If you want it to stay in proportion to what it was originally intended, you could do this by pressing and holding the Shift key, and that would essentially guard the proportions of the arrow. Once you have something more or less to the degree you want it, you release your mouse button, and it would produce that shape. Now, once you have a shape, you can do a couple of different things with it. You can come up here, and near the top of the shape is a little rotation icon. You can rotate it that way. You can also rotate your shape by making sure that you click on the shape, and that will bring up the context-dependent format dialog box. You can go to rotate here, and you could say rotate it in any individual angle, or you can go to more rotate options, and then you could say make sure that it's set so that the rotation is 0, or that maybe if you want it to be exactly 90, you can do that too. Once you're done with this dialog box, you would close it. Or again, you can use the manual little arrow to change the location. You can also grab any of the sides and drag it out or make it wider. That too is a possibility. You can go ahead up here and change the fill color. So maybe we want to have it be a green arrow. You can change the outline. So maybe a red outline. And then what you can also do in many shapes is you can actually just start typing. So you can put in test, or you can put in text. So maybe we could say grand total. Now, once you have some text there, you could go back to the Home tab, and you could use the things that we looked at together with things like the different orientation and the different alignments. So that's one cool option that you can do. And then again, if you double click, it would bring you back to the Format tab. You could even change the style of the arrows to something different. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to experiment with different shapes. So you can either insert a second shape, which you would do by going to Insert, Illustrations, Shapes, and then maybe I could see what a box might look like. Or if you already have a shape that you like, or you'd like to see a different option, you can go again to that Format tab and then Edit Shape. You could change the shape, and you could say change it to a rectangle, which in this case probably would be better off with a arrow, but it would be totally up to you. So if you have multiple shapes, the last thing that I guess we'll cover, if you have multiple shapes, you can send those shapes backward or forward. So essentially you can change the appearance, or which one shows up on top of the others. It's totally up to you. And again, you could change the size of that shape by grabbing the corners and dragging in. So that in a nutshell in essence, is going to be our discussion on shapes. If you have any questions, any comments, ideas, go ahead and post them in the comment section of this video. As always, we would love your feedback. If you think this video is good, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you think it's bad, give us a thumbs down. Either way, we'd love to know. And for those of you interested, you can consider subscribing to our channel, where every week we'll post additional tips, tricks, and tutorials on Microsoft Excel. So with that little plug, that little pitch, we're now going to move on to the last section, or the last video in this section, that of inserting pictures and other visual elements into Microsoft Excel. So check that out in the next video if you're so inclined, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.